Since it was founded in 2016, Raceward Studios has specialised in bike races. Now part of the new Nacon Milan division, Raceward is taking over the TT Isle of Man Ride on the Edge series from KT Racing. With a new team at the helm, Raceward is taking the TT Isle of Man series in a surprising new direction, with Ride on the Edge 3. Our very own Martin was invited to Nacon Milan for a hands-on with a preview build of the game. And so I'm Mark from RacingGames, and here is our preview of TT Isle of Man Ride on the Edge 3. Ride on the Edge 3's key innovation is the new Open Roads mode. Although Ride on the Edge 2 did feature free roaming, it was a standalone mode connecting fictional tracks set in Ireland. In Ride on the Edge 3, the open world is seamlessly integrated into the career mode. Raceward worked with the local government to recreate 200 kilometers of open roads based on the real Isle of Man locations, a process that took around a year and a half. According to head of design Fabio Respighi, the island itself is just as important to the game as the player. Our approach for TT3 is to make the island a protagonist. We thought it's messy to have circuits outside the island. We want players to feel like they are a part of the real life event. With no landmarks or challenges to complete, Ride on the Edge 2's free roam mode felt redundant. In contrast, as you explore the winding mountain roads and narrow streets in Ride on the Edge 3, the map is filled with points of interest, activities, and challenges to discover. Outside of career season events, you can take on optional face-off and time attack challenges, visit the inspection bay to refuel or upgrade your bike, or set up custom events. These optional challenges need to be discovered on the map before you can enter them, encouraging exploration. The roads are as accurate to the island as possible while still being accessible for racing. As Fabio explains, we made some adjustments for a gameplay purpose because some roads aren't suitable for a race, but only very little changes. They're not laser scanned, but very close to the real roads on the island. If you go to the TT, you will know how to drive around the island thanks to our open roads. Within the island, Raceward has created 8 race circuits including the full Snaefell mountain course. Every circuit can be raced in full or split into sections for a total of 32 tracks. In addition, you can also race on the historic St John's and Clips circuits as well as the iconic Laxey Road. Not only do you have the freedom to explore, but you'll also learn about the Tourist Trophy's illustrious history in free roam. Our mission is to teach players about the island, the Tourist Trophy and the riders of the Tourist Trophy, said Respighi. Completing events or challenges earns experience points to increase your online ranking in leaderboards, as well as points to upgrade components. Just about every component can be upgraded in the service area, including the engine, chassis, tyres, transmission, brakes, suspension, shock absorbers, and fuel tanks. Conversely, career events can be started at any time. You can start and finish a season without ever exploring the map. There's plenty of customizability too, as time and weather effects can also be adjusted on the fly. Open worlds in racing games are nothing new, but it's a fresh approach for bike racing games. With no traffic roaming the streets, the environment felt empty at times, but this non-linear structure helps make Ride on the Edge 3 accessible to newcomers. It's effectively a training ground for the main Tourist Trophy event, preparing you to tackle the terrifying Snaefell mountain course. In the career, you have to qualify before you're allowed to take on the legendary Tourist Trophy. At over 37 miles long, it's one of the most dangerous and demanding road races in the world. Ride on the Edge 2's fully laser-scanned Snaefell mountain course returns in the third game, updated with new textures and a darker, moodier art direction. On PS5, there was some noticeable scenery pop-in and occasional slowdown. Since the build we played is work in progress, there's still time for Raceward to add more polish before release. While the visual changes are minor, Ride on the Edge 3's physics engine has been rebuilt from Rims Racing, Raceward's previous bike racer. Unlike in Ride on the Edge 2, rider assists like traction control, ABS, engine brake and anti-wheelie system can be adjusted in-game by tapping the D-pad, allowing you to create your own custom difficulty level. Compared to Rims Racing, the physics in Ride on the Edge 3 are less complex, but even with all assists on, taming these superbikes is very tricky, especially if you predominantly play car racing games. The superbikes feel heavier than the last game, but the controls are intuitive enough that you can learn from mistakes. Crashes were always the rider's fault, from approaching a corner too fast, hitting a curb, or applying the throttle or brakes too liberally. Raceward have worked with real-life TT rider Davey Todd to make the physics true to life for enthusiasts, yet approachable for casual gamers. Within 5 minutes of playing Ride on the Edge 3, I crashed twice and had a massive grin on my face. The developers asked, "Why are you smiling? You keep crashing." I said, "Honestly, that is impressive." Both times it's exactly right why I should crash. Once because I accelerated too hard and it would slide out, and I went into a corner too fast and held the brake while leaning. That's exactly what should happen. Often in games you can do things you can't in real life, but I think this is so much closer to the real thing in realistic mode. When Ride on the Edge 2 launches on the 11th of May, it will only include riders and liveries from the 2022 Championship. This is because the 2023 TT starts a few weeks after the game launches. With 9 former TT winners returning for the 2023 season, Ride on the Edge 3 will receive a free update on the 23rd of September, adding the 2023 roster of riders and liveries. Sadly, one thing Ride on the Edge 3 won't have is VR support for both PC or PSVR 2. Gran Turismo 7 set new standards for VR racing on PSVR 2, but VR bike racing games remain a rarity. While experiencing the TT in VR sounds exhilarating, VR is harder to adapt for bike racing than car racing. When driving a car, you're sitting in a fixed position in-game and in real life. Racing with a steering wheel peripheral also tricks your brain into thinking you're moving for maximum immersion. That's harder to achieve on a motorbike because the rider moves with the bike. This creates a disconnect and increases the risk of motion sickness. There's a lot of demand for VR support in Ride on the Edge 3, and while it was considered, Respighi thinks we need a dedicated bike controller that simulates the rider's movement before bike games can make the jump to VR. Even if you lock the camera, the movement of the bike is completely different to a car. This is a problem for motion sickness, so it's not as easy to implement, he said. Despite the lack of VR support, TT Isle of Man Ride on the Edge 3 does a great job immersing you into the world of the Isle of Man TT. The sense of speed is incredible as you hurtle past the scenery at 200 miles per hour, although the loud wind noise from Ride on the Edge 2 as your speed increased is noticeably quieter. Engines sound more visceral with prominent exhaust pops, and you can even race with optional in-game music whilst exploring the island. So those are our hands-on thoughts on TT Isle of Man Ride on the Edge 3. But what do you think? Are you looking forward to strapping on your leathers and tearing around the legendary TT? Maybe you're just wanting to explore the many sights and sounds of the stunning Isle of Man on a bike. Or perhaps you're excited about conquering the frightening Snaefell mountain course. Let us know what you're most looking forward to in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe for the latest news on TT Isle of Man Ride on the Edge 3. For now though, thanks for watching. I've been Mark from RacingGames, a big thanks to Raceward and Nacon Milan for inviting Martin out for his hands-on preview, and we'll catch you here on the channel for another video soon.